That feeling, you know it instantly, right? You're just going about your day, maybe scrolling, maybe just looking around, and bam.
It hits you.
Yeah, that little voice. Are they doing better? Do they have more? Am I doing enough?
It's that measuring stick we pull out constantly.
And it's stressful. Sometimes it's just this low hum of anxiety. Other times it's, well, really intense.
It's definitely a human thing, comparing ourselves. It's baked in, you could say. But modern life, especially the online world, it's just turbocharged it.
Right. Made it potentially way more damaging.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've got this stack of research articles, basically a deep look into the whole psychology of comparison.
And what they're showing us, well, one paper calls it the dark side of this habit.
Yeah. So our mission today, we want to unpack what these sources say about the downsides of comparing all the time.
But not just stay there. We really want to explore the other side, too, the practices like self-acceptance, gratitude, things the materials suggest can help us shift focus.
And actually live more fully, right? Not just measure up.
Precisely, moving away from the measuring stick.
Okay, let's get into it. Where does this whole comparison thing even come from, psychologically speaking? The sources point back quite a way, don't they?
They do. Back to 1954, actually. Leon Festinger and his social comparison theory.
Festinger. Okay, what was the core idea there?
Well, the basic gist is people compare themselves to others as a way to figure out how they're doing, especially with abilities or opinions. You know, when there isn't some objective outside standard, like how do you know if you're a fast runner?
You see how fast other people run.
Exactly. Or if your opinion on something is, like, reasonable. You check what others think. It helps us calibrate, find our place.
And that can be useful sometimes, right? The sources acknowledge that.
Oh, for sure. In certain situations, it serves a purpose. Coping, maybe. Seeing how others handle tough times.
Or managing feeling bad, like comparing downwards.
Right. At least I'm not dealing with that kind of thing. That downward comparison can sometimes give you a temporary boost.
Or looking up for inspiration, seeing someone achieve something.
Yeah, upward comparison. If they did it, maybe I can too. Or you learn from them.
Yeah.
So comparison itself isn't inherently evil.
Oh. And this seems to be the key point in the sources we looked at. It's the frequency.
That's the crucial distinction. Occasional deliberate comparison versus this constant, almost automatic habit of doing it.
That's where the dark side comes in.
Yes. The research really digs into this hypothesis.
Yeah.
Frequent social comparison is linked to some pretty destructive stuff. Emotions, behaviors.
Okay, tell us about study 1. They look specifically at this frequency link, didn't they?
They did. They asked people how often they compare themselves across different areas. Looks, smarts, money, fitness, personality, you name it.
All the usual suspects?
Pretty much. And they wanted to see if the high-frequency comparers were more likely to feel bad and, well, act badly.
And what did they find? What were the specific negative emotions?
The findings were pretty stark. People who compared frequently, significantly more likely to report feeling envy,
Makes sense.
guilt, defensiveness, and regret.
Okay. Envy, I get. You see what someone else has, you want it, you compare, you feel envious. What about guilt and regret?
Well, maybe you regret over chances you didn't take when you see others succeeding, or guilt, perhaps even about feeling envious. It's complex.
And defensiveness, like feeling attacked by the comparison.
Sort of, like your self-image is under threat, so you need to protect it. Maybe you push back, justify yourself, because the comparison makes you feel, well, less than.
So it affects how you interact, potentially. What about behaviors? Did it go beyond just feeling?
Oh, yeah. Study 1 linked frequent comparison to actually doing certain things, like lying.
Lying, how so?
Well, maybe lying to make yourself look better, to cover up perceived flaws highlighted by the comparison, or even lying to protect someone else, maybe, to manage the social fallout.
Wow. So a direct behavioral consequence that's tangible.
It is. And also having more unmet cravings.
Unmet cravings, like what? Food? Shopping?
The source doesn't specify exactly, but you could imagine, right? If you're chronically dissatisfied from comparing, maybe you look for comfort or escape elsewhere.
Wow.
And maybe those things don't actually satisfy, leading to more craving.
A cycle of wanting but not being fulfilled.
Possibly. The study also found some positive links, though maybe less strong statistically, with procrastination and blaming others.
Procrastination. If you feel inadequate, it's harder to start.
Could be. Or blaming others easier than looking at yourself if your self-image feels fragile because of all the comparing.
Okay, so that's a heavy list. Envy, guilt, defensiveness, regret, lying, unmet cravings, maybe procrastination, blaming. all tied to just how often you compare.
Right. And here's a really interesting point from the study. The frequency of comparison was a better predictor of these negative outcomes than the person's self-esteem was.
Better than self-esteem, that seems counterintuitive. You'd think low self-esteem would be the main driver.
You would think. And self-esteem is important for overall well-being, definitely. But for these specific destructive emotions and behaviors, the study suggests it's the ongoing act, the habit of frequent comparison, that's more powerful.
So you could have okay self-esteem generally, but if you're constantly measuring yourself,
You're still vulnerable because the comparison process itself, that constant judgment against others, is what seems to trigger this negativity almost regardless of your baseline self-worth.
it's the process, not just the state. And the sources explain the psychology behind this, how it becomes a cycle.
Yeah, they talk about how comparison forces you into a specific kind of self-view. Objective self-awareness, it's called.
Objective self-awareness, like seeing yourself as an object.
Kind of. Like stepping outside yourself and looking back critically, using external benchmarks. How do I measure up?
And that state, that objective view, makes you compare more.
Exactly. The research shows a strong link. Once you start seeing yourself as something to be evaluated, your brain just naturally looks for things to compare against.
And we know, generally, focusing too much on ourselves, especially critically, isn't great for mood.
Right. That kind of self-focused attention is often linked to negative feelings, anxiety, sadness. So you see the loop,
Comparison leads to seeing yourself objectively,
which makes you compare more,
which keeps you focused on yourself critically.
which leads to feeling bad.
And then you compare again, maybe to try and feel better, but it just keeps going.
Precisely. A negative feedback loop. The sources call it a potential path to chronic dissatisfaction. You're just stuck evaluating, often unfavorably.
And there's this idea of mindlessness, too.
Yeah, like you just automatically accept the verdict of the comparison. They're better, I'm worse. You don't stop to question it or think, wait, does this comparison even make sense? Is my worth really based on this?
You just absorb the hit.
Right. And over time, the sources suggest you can become dependent on this. Like you need to feel better than or equal to others based on these external comparisons just to feel okay about yourself.
Your well-being gets tied completely to how you stack up externally. Wow.
It's a precarious way to live.
Okay, so this is impacting individuals deeply, but it doesn't stop there, does it? Study 2 looked at how this comparison habit plays out between groups.
Yeah, they took it beyond personal feelings. They looked at police officers, measured their frequency of social comparison, just like in the first study.
Okay.
Then they looked at how these officers rated their own group, the police, compared to another group, security guards.
Security guards. Okay, similar field, different roles. Makes sense as a comparison. What about bias?
A clear link. Officers who reported comparing themselves frequently in their personal lives showed significantly more in-group bias.
Meaning they rated their own group, the police, more favorably?
Yes, much more favorably than they rated security guards, specifically on traits relevant to their jobs.
Like what kind of traits?
Things like intelligence, professionalism, being involved in important safety issues, concern for doing the job well, concern for community safety. High comparers consistently rated police higher on these.
And the officers who didn't compare as much?
Much less bias. They rated police and security guards more similarly on most things. Interestingly, they even showed a slight outgroup bias on one trait, volunteerism, rating security guards higher there.
That's a really clear difference. It shows how a personal mental habit can spill over into group perceptions.
Absolutely. It shapes how you see us versus them.
Did Study 2 find anything else?
Yes, it also looked at job satisfaction and found that frequent social comparison negatively predicted it.
So the more officers compared themselves generally, the less happy they were with their jobs.
That's what the data showed. It fits with that chronic dissatisfaction idea, but in a work context.
And again, across both studies, the frequency of comparison was the key factor, more so than self-esteem.
That was the consistent finding. Whether looking at destructive emotions or in-group bias or job satisfaction, how often people compared was the stronger predictor. It really hammers home that the habit itself is a powerful driver of negative outcomes.
Okay, that paints a pretty clear picture of the psychological downsides. Now, let's bring this right into 2024. Because there's one place where this comparison engine is running hotter than ever.
You mean social media? Obvious.
Yeah, the sources point to it as the modern arena for comparison, and they say it ramps it up in all the worst ways.
It really does, because what you see online It's not reality, is it?
Not even close. It's the highlight reel.
Exactly. The best photo out of 50, the edited vacation pics, the perfect-looking family moment, the career triumphs, it's all curated, idealized personas.
So you're comparing your everyday, behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's polished public performance.
An impossible comparison.
Sure.
And this idea of context collapse comes into play, too.
The context collapse.
Yeah, like online, you often have one profile for everyone, your boss, your grandma, your friends. So there's pressure to maintain this single, often overly positive, acceptable persona.
Leading to massive self-editing.
Right. Carefully picking what to share, how to phrase things, which just adds to the artificial perfection everyone else is seeing and comparing themselves against.
It feels like a giant performance where everyone's trying to look like they have it all figured out. And this isn't just making us feel temporarily bad. The sources link it to broader mental health trends, don't they?
They do. And again, it's correlation, not necessarily proven direct causation in all cases, but the patterns are worrying. You see rising rates of anxiety and depression, especially in young people, happening alongside the explosion of social media and smartphones.
There was that study on U.S. teens.
Right, grades 8 to 12, between 2010 and 2015, a period when smartphone use just skyrocketed.
And during that same time,
A 33% jump in teens reporting high levels of depressive symptoms, a 31% increase in suicide rates, and the source highlighted that this increase was driven almost entirely by girls.
wow. And the researchers connected that timing directly to the rise of smartphones.
That was their observation, yeah. And you saw related trends, like more students needing college counseling, mainly for anxiety and depression. Another big study in JAMA Psychiatry found teens spending over 3 hours a day on social media had a much higher risk for mental health issues.
Specifically, internalizing problems. What falls under that?
That stuff turned inward. So anxiety, depression, yes, but also suicidal thoughts, negative self-image, loneliness. Fits perfectly with the potential impact of relentless, often negative social comparison.
It's like it feeds those internal struggles. And one way it does this, according to the sources, is simply by taking time away from other things, the displacement effect.
This is huge.
Yeah.
Think about it. Every hour you spend scrolling is an hour you're not spending on things we know are good for mental health.
Like what? What's being pushed out?
Well, exercise, for one. Getting enough sleep, a big one. Real face-to-face social interaction. Developing skills or talents, hobbies, community stuff.
Things that actually build genuine self-esteem and connection.
Exactly. Things that build you up from the inside. Social media gives you that quick hit, that little dopamine burst from a like or a comment.
Feels good for a second.
That for a second. But the sources say it's addicting without being satisfying. It hooks you, but it doesn't deeply nourish you like real-world engagement does.
And sleep. You mentioned sleep. The sources really detail how badly social media can mess with our sleep.
It's a major casualty. Multiple reasons. The blue light from screens messes with melatonin, the sleep hormone.
Makes it harder to fall asleep.
Yep. Plus, just spending hours scrolling cuts into your sleep time directly. Then there's the psychological stuff. FOMO, fear of missing out.
Gotta check one last time.
Right. Anxiety about missing something keeps you glued. Your brain stays wired, stimulated when it should be winding down.
And the emotional roller coaster online. Arguments. Envy right before bed.
Terrible for sleep. Excitement, anxiety, frustration all disrupt your ability to drift off. And notifications waking you up. Forget about quality sleep.
The sources cited studies linking heavy use to poor sleep.
Clear correlations. And that stat, about 60% of teens checking phones in the hour before bed and getting about an hour less sleep. That's huge.
An hour less sleep consistently, that impacts everything. Mood, focus, emotional control.
Absolutely. It's a massive hidden cost.
Yeah.
And beyond sleep and internal feelings, the online world can also encourage some pretty negative behaviors directly.
Like what?
Well, the focus on the self can breed narcissism, right? The selfie obsession, the constant self-promotion. Dishonesty is easier online, fudging the truth, creating fake personas.
Bullying too, sadly.
Huge problem. Anonymity makes people bolder, crueler sometimes. Privacy is a major concern. Who's watching? What are they doing with your data? And unfortunately, stalking, cyberstalking, it happens.
It really drives home the point about needing to be careful, mindful about what you share and how you engage online.
It's not a neutral space. It has real risks. And one final point on social media, those likes. We chase them, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Validation. Do they actually make us happier?
Not in any deep or lasting way, according to the research mentioned. Getting likes didn't really lift people's moods long-term or help when they felt down. It's that fleeting hit again. Superficial. Doesn't build real self-worth.
Okay. So we've really explored the dark side. Frequent comparison, supercharged by social media, leads to negative feelings, bad habits, poor sleep, even warped group views. It's a lot.
It is heavy.
Yeah.
But the sources don't leave us there. They pivot. They offer real tools, practices to fight back, to cultivate something better.
To cultivate living fully, what does that mean according to this material?
It's about shifting the focus inward. Not measuring yourself against the outside, but building richness from within. Key ideas are things like presence actually being in your life right now.
Not lost in comparison land.
Exactly. Also, gratitude, holistic well-being, mind, body, spirit, generosity, positivity, finding meaning and purpose. These are the building blocks.
And where do we start? The sources seem to highlight one attitude as absolutely crucial, maybe the most important for mental health.
Self-acceptance.
Self-acceptance. Define that again, based on the sources.
It's pretty radical. It means acknowledging all of yourself, strengths, weaknesses, skills, flaws, successes, mistakes, and accepting that whole package without harsh overall judgment.
Accepting yourself no matter what.
That's the key phrase. Regardless of criticism, failure, how you look, whether you met expectations, you accept yourself unconditionally.
That feels like the bedrock. And calling it the most important attitude? That's bold.
It's presented that way because it allows everything else positive to grow. And crucially, it's not about accepting bad behavior.
Right. It doesn't mean being passive or complacent.
No, quite the opposite. The sources argue that if you accept yourself fundamentally, you can look at your unhelpful behaviors more honestly and realistically without your entire self-worth feeling threatened. That actually makes it easier to change them.
Because a mistake doesn't mean you are fundamentally flawed.
Precisely. It separates your worth from your actions. And it's different from self-esteem, right? Self-esteem is often conditional. It's based on evaluation. I like myself because I did well or because I measure up. It can fluctuate wildly. Self-acceptance is unconditional. It's just, I accept myself. Period. More stable.
And the alternative, the danger, is self-depreciation.
Yes. That's when one mistake, one criticism, lead you to label your entire self negatively. I'm a total failure. I'm useless. The sources say this is illogical overgeneralization.
One bad grade doesn't make you stupid. One failed project doesn't make you incompetent.
Exactly. It ignores all the other parts of you.
Right.
But it's a common trap. And the sources state clearly it's a direct cause of depression and anxiety. But the good news,
It's changeable.
it's changeable because you have the power to choose self-acceptance. It's a conscious decision or practice.
Okay, so how do we practice? What are the keys the sources give for strengthening this?
First, really drill down on distinguishing between failing at something and being a failure. Your behavior isn't your identity. You messed up that thing. You are not the mess up.
That shift is huge.
It is. Second, really internalize that other people's opinions are just opinions, not facts about your worth. Remember the example. If someone calls you garbage, does that make it true?
No, it reflects on them maybe, but not on your inherent value.
Exactly. Third, actively notice and value your positive qualities. Skills, strengths, kindness, whatever. We tend to focus on flaws. Make a conscious effort to see the good stuff too. Remind yourself.
Balance the internal books, so to speak.
Fourth, practice self-accepting self-talk. This is active work. When you catch the negative thoughts, counter them. Use phrases like the one suggested. I accept myself no matter what. I prefer approval, but I don't need it to accept myself. Mistakes happen. I accept myself while learning from them.
Like reprogramming your inner voice.
That's exactly it. And fifth, that fantastic analogy, the fruit basket.
Ah, yes. Tell us the fruit basket again. It's so good.
Okay, picture a big basket of fruit. Lots of good stuff, ripe apples, juicy pears, but maybe there's one bruised banana, one rotten orange.
Okay.
Would you look at that single rotten orange and declare the entire basket worthless?
Of course not. That's silly. There's still tons of good fruit.
Right. The basket is you. The fruits are your traits, actions, good and bad. The rotten orange is the mistake, the flaw, the criticism. Rating your entire self as bad because of a few negative parts is just as illogical as trashing the whole fruit basket.
It makes the irrationality so clear. Such a great visual.
It really is. And the sources emphasize this self-acceptance thing. It doesn't usually come naturally. We need to practice it, train it, because the default is often self-criticism and comparison.
It's a skill to build. Okay, so self-acceptance is foundational. What's another major practice the sources push for living fully?
Gratitude. Cultivating an attitude of gratitude.
Which feels like the perfect antidote to envy, right?
It really does. Gratitude is defined as affirming the good things you have, the benefits you've received, and recognizing where they came from. often from others.
And the benefits are huge, according to the sources.
Massive.
Yeah.
Better mental well-being, stronger relationships, but also physical health improvements, immune system, sleep, even less pain, and it can actually help rewire your brain.
Rewire the brain. Okay. Okay. How, and more importantly, how do we do gratitude? The list of practices was really detailed.
So many ways in. Start simple. Just notice your thank yous. Make them mean something. Feel the gratitude behind the words.
Instead of just automatic politeness.
Exactly. Another big one, the gratitude journal. But with specific tips, right?
Yeah, like be specific, go deep rather than just listing stuff. Focus on people.
Right. And that subtraction technique. Think about what life would be like without something good. Really makes you appreciate it now.
Creates contrast.
Yeah. Also, see things as gifts, savor surprises, write regularly, but maybe not every day, like 1-3 times a week. Might keep it feeling fresh, prevent it from becoming a chore.
Avoid gratitude burnout. What else?
Use your senses. Pause and notice things you appreciate, seeing, smelling, hearing, touching. Remember tough times to appreciate the good now. For relationships, ask those 3 questions. What have I received? Given? What troubles have I caused?
That fosters a balanced view.
And share your gratitude. Tell people. Write a note. It strengthens bonds incredibly. Use visual reminders. Make a vow to practice. Watch your language. Use words like gift, blessing. Even just going through the motions like smiling when you say thanks can help trigger the feeling.
That's a whole toolbox. How does this rewire the brain, scientifically speaking?
Well, practicing gratitude activates brain areas involved in pleasure, social bonding, regulating emotions. It seems to calm the stress response, maybe encourage more rest and digest nervous system activity.
And potentially links to natural opioids.
Yeah, the mu-opioid system, involved in bonding and pain relief. Consistent practice might strengthen these pathways. And some research even suggests structural changes in the brain, even for people with depression, building resilience over time.
That's really hopeful. And for relationships, there was that find, mind, bind idea.
Right. Gratitude helps us find good relationships. Appreciative people are attractive. Remind us to value the ones we have and bind us closer by motivating us to invest in them. It creates an upward spiral of positivity.
Like a booster shot for connection.
Exactly. Expressing gratitude makes both people feel better and more connected.
So self-acceptance and gratitude are the power couple here. But there were other supporting habits mentioned too.
Definitely. Doing things you love, hobbies, sports reduces stress. Helping others, volunteering. Huge boost for purpose and self-esteem. Combats loneliness.
Healthy friendships are vital.
Absolutely critical. Belonging, support. They buffer against so much negativity, having a sense of meaning, a purpose beyond yourself. And the basics, exercise, massive mood benefits. Healthy eating impacts brain chemistry. All these build internal strength.
It all points inward, building resilience from the inside out, making you less reliant on external comparison. Okay, let's quickly loop back to social media. Taking a break, setting boundaries. It's not about punishment.
No, it's framed as an opportunity, a chance to reset, regain control of your attention, practice building that internal worth without the constant comparison noise, and then figure out a healthier way to engage with tech moving forward, using it intentionally, not letting it use you.
This has been incredibly insightful. We've seen how that constant comparison habit, especially fueled by social media, can really trap us.
And cycles of negativity, yeah. Dissatisfaction, envy, anxiety.
But the big takeaway from these sources is agency. We have tools. We can choose a different path.
We can cultivate self-acceptance, practice gratitude, build healthier habits, actively choose to focus inward rather than outward.
Because living fully ultimately isn't about winning some invisible competition. It's about what? Embracing your own reality.
Your own unique, messy, wonderful reality. Finding joy and meaning right here, appreciating what you have, nurturing yourself from the inside. That creates a kind of well-being comparison can't even touch.
Tending your own garden, like you said.
Exactly that.
So let's leave everyone with this thought. We know comparison can feel automatic, like the brain's default setting. And we know things like self-acceptance and gratitude take conscious effort. So if comparison is the default path, what's one small, deliberate step you can choose, maybe even right after listening to this, to step off that path and onto the path of acceptance or gratitude instead? Just one small, intentional choice.